Good morning, Daily Huddlers. I'm so excited for today, Wednesday, but we have to start off with a really funny joke, right? So we love soccer in my house. My son plays soccer. We play soccer almost every day. And I also love fairy tales. Do you know why Cinderella was so bad at soccer? She kept running away from the ball.
Oh,
I don't get it.
well,
All the
gosh.
party where she dropped her
Oh
slipper.
my gosh. I thought you had the wrong shoes.
Like I said, really, really funny joke.
They're terrible.
That's an opinion,
I love them. I love them. Running away from the ball. I love it.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday, where we talk about all things relationship and communication. I am flying solo today. My dear co-host is not with us, but I have a very special guest who I will introduce in just a moment. But to get us started, I want to ask a few questions. I'm going to start with Tom Montgomery. Tom, what time is it?
Well, Catherine, the time is now. No better time than right now.
That's right. Thank you, Tom. And I'm going to go to Andrea. I love seeing your face on Wednesday mornings. Where are you, Andrea? What are you grateful for?
I am right where I need to be, Catherine, which is right here. And I'm grateful for technology. I've been dealing with technology the last 2 days, and I'm grateful for it. It's a love and hate relationship, but I'm grateful for it.
I love that. I am too, because it gets us here. Without technology, we would not be here.
Absolutely.
I love it. Okay, I am going to ask Chase a question. Chase, really two questions. How are you, and who are you going to hug today?
I am pensive today.
Hmm.
Who am I going to hug? I'm going to hug myself today.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Yes, we are the way we say we are. And hugging ourselves and self-care, there's nothing better. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to dive in. I'm excited. So my guest today, I could read you her bio. It's very impressive. She's a former psychotherapist, and she started a nonprofit. But perhaps her biggest roles in life are the fact that she is a grandmother and a mother. And she just so happens to be my mother. So this is my mom, Pam Noble. Welcome, Mom.
thank you. I am very honored to be here. What a brave daughter I have to invite her mother to this daily huddle.
Well,
And
you're brave to come on here too, especially to talk about the question of how do you heal your relationship with a parent?
why, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That is a key question in all of our lives. In fact, it's a primal question because we all have parents. We all need healing with that parent if we can possibly find the way to that.
Yeah.
And
Well, I want to stop you 1 sec real quick, because I first wanted to say, when we started talking about this, we thought it would be about our relationship. And because, like you said, everybody has to heal something with their parents. It's just not, I read one time, if you have an issue with your parents or you need to go to therapy because of something that happened in your childhood, it means that because you were raised by humans. Like, we all make mistakes. But then we got to talking about it. And what came of it is that you started talking about your relationship with your mom and growing up.
yes.
That got me really interested. So let's start there. Can you paint a little bit of the picture of what it was like for you to grow up in your family?
Why, yes, I can. It was a very difficult relationship from the very beginning. I may have been a rebellious child. However, my mother said to me very early on, you were born with a dark cloud over your head, which says something about what was going on. And the weight of longing to be loved and not feeling that I was receiving that love is a wound that I've carried for many years in my life. And that difficult relationship, of course, it grew really terrible in my teenage years, my adolescence, because as we all know, teenagers can be somewhat difficult. And it was so bad at that time, I actually had to go live with a cousin for a year. And that relationship improved when I got married and had children, because at last I was doing something that my mother approved of. I carried those wounds and numbed myself through alcohol in the early years of my marriage and as a mother.
Well, step back just a little bit and because like explain what it was like, because I do want to get there. I think, gosh, oof. But to have your mom say that you were born with a dark cloud over your head, and it feels like you're saying that you didn't feel like you received love from her.
Right.
What was that like?
Well, it was like an endless climb up a mountain that had a peak, no peak, because I was constantly trying to receive love from her. And sometimes she would draw close to me and I would share with her in a vulnerable way, tell her my secret thoughts or feelings. And the next thing I knew, all my friends knew what I'd shared with her. She had shared with their mothers or whatever. So there was a constant betrayal. So I never felt safe. And so I buried that pain through rebellion. Just, of course, made it worse for her, made it worse for me.
Okay, so fast forward, you get married and you're covering pain with alcohol.
Yes. So this meant that I was not present with my children. And of course, there's all that goes with that. And when I finally stopped drinking, the marriage fell apart. And yet I still hadn't learned to be present for my children or myself. I one day decided that, I know therapists become therapists. People become therapists in order to heal themselves. Well, and then they can heal others or help others to heal. So I plunged into the realm of therapy. This did help heal some of the wounds of childhood. By that time, my children were adolescents, and the wounds, now they carried the wounds of my absence into their adolescence. So I reached a place where I came out as a lesbian. And at that time, at least my mother and I were communicating. Oh, but when she found this out, it was devastating. I mean, it was the end of the world for her.
Yeah. And I was 13 when that happened. So remember it very distinctly from my perspective and then also from hers, but share a little bit about why that was so devastating for her.
Well, as a conservative Christian, she had very set beliefs of what was right and what was wrong.
So that's kind of where I feel like that's sort of like the cloud that's covering all of this, because they're very right-wing Christians and believed very specific things. So all growing up, that was always there.
Yes, that was always there. And always, I can hear a voice that says, why can't you be? Why can't you? I mean, to never be enough, to never be right. So therefore, to never be loved.
So you get to this point, you had been sort of accepted because you got married, you did the right thing, you married a nice man, had some kids. And so you were playing, you were playing that part. And then like drop a bombshell, come out as a lesbian.
Right.
What was specifically, like, what are a few things that happened during that time? Or what was her reaction?
Oh, well, she disowned me. And it was so painful. I don't even remember exactly how she said it to me. I just remember. And I realized that I needed to make a statement, that I needed to claim my own life. And so I came up with the idea that if I changed my last name, that I was making a statement. So I went to the name book. My maiden name is Nolan. I looked it up. It meant noble. So from Pam Nolan, I became Pam Noble. And that to me was making a statement. Hey, listen, Mom, I'm going to be who I am, no matter what you say, in spite of the fact that I may never receive love from you.
Mm.
So that was a powerful shift for me.
Yeah. It feels so heavy to me. And I'm your daughter, so I've been there and I've had my own experience of it, but it just feels awful to strive so hard and then to have her disown you, like have her. How did you move forward through to those years? Because you had a different experience later in life that you wanted to share.
Yes. I think I numbed the pain of that through doing.
Mm.
And just living without her constant criticism, we were not in touch. And so in some ways there was some space.
Mm-hmm.
Then in my 60s, she was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And I thought, oh, if she dies and we have not healed our relationship, I'm going to carry that to my grave. And so what I came up with was I took up the practice of Buddhist meditation so that I could find a way to forgive her, not realizing I needed to forgive myself as well. And so then I offered to help her as she was dying. And when things would get difficult in her presence and I would feel all that pain arising, I would go into another room, close the door, sit in meditation until I could release the anger, the disappointment, the frustration, and of course, the woundedness. And that really began to ease things with her somewhat. Then shortly before she died, she invited me over. She was bedridden. She raised herself out of the bed, came to the door, opened the door, took my face in her hands like this, looked into my eyes and said, Pam, I just want you to know I love you to pieces. And she died 2 days later. Now, there was healing. No, she didn't forgive me for my lifestyle. She loved me, and that love was enough for me to feel forgiven. And of course, I had forgiven her. And I have to say, as I remember her, even in this moment, I feel nothing but love in spite of that relationship. So to me, this process of love and forgiveness is so powerful. It's so healing. And as I've turned 80 this year, I have reached out to my girls, my 2 daughters, wanting to be closer, knowing that we can have a deeper relationship, no matter what has passed between us. And that
landed you on the Daily Huddle.
Yes. Otherwise, I couldn't be here.
Yeah. And like, wow, I'm feeling emotional. But what you said about, you're talking about it. I know it's been years, but wow, like to go and offer to take care of her after what you've been through, brave and courageous. Because I know when I get triggered by family, what that feels like, and to feel like I'm not in control of it. But then to intentionally go into another room and sit in meditation with the intention of letting it go, it just feels Herculean, like monumental. How did you come to that? How did you decide to do that and then truly let it go? She had been awful to you at times. I remember certain things that were really painful. How did you really let it go? Like really let it go?
I think that's the fruit of meditation, even though thoughts would still come, feelings would still come in the meditation. Connecting the breath with letting go is a healing process. And I even, as you have invited me here, have looked at, okay, is there more forgiveness? Is there more healing? And what I've come up with is I have to forgive myself. And self-forgiveness is even, I think, more Herculean than forgiving another. And so I have written down some things that I wanted to forgive myself for and burn them and then place them in the ocean. Because it's all of a circle, it's all of a oneness to forgive others and to forgive self. And so in answer to your question, I think it's just a willingness that something, once we're in touch with a willingness, then the universe comes in and helps us let go.
And what would you say to somebody who can't find that willingness, who's really struggling?
Keep claiming the intention. And I have a practice that I call my thank you practice. And when I want something to happen, like to have a willingness, I say, thank you for the willingness to let go. And then every time I find myself not being willing, I repeat that. And over time, something happens.
Wow. I think it's incredible that you are able to do that, and that you do live with such lightness, because even as you talk about it, or you talk about her or anybody in the family, it's amazing that you have come that far. And I'm curious too, because here we are, I'm your daughter, right? How do you think that experience? I know you said that you weren't present with us, and I experienced that. So yes, I would agree, which in turn has made me super present with my kids, because we try and do, the opposite, or heal, what happened to us. But how do you think that beyond that informed how you parented us, your experience with her and being brought up by her?
I think I was so wounded and so carried such a weight that I couldn't shift enough of it to be present with you and the other children. It was so heavy. That numbing was a habit that it's taken years to shed, and I have numbing through doing. And perhaps there's deeper healing. That's what I'm on the path for. But I think that I was so wounded that I still couldn't be present enough to you. And that's, forgiving myself for that is quite a journey, because I'm deeply, deeply sorry.
I do. And I love you, and I've forgiven you. So you can.
And I love you, dear.
No, you made me cry. I can't cry. All right. Well, y'all, thank you for being here with us. I want to answer some questions. Let's see, there's some hands up. Tom, this is interesting, y'all. I have to say it's interesting. It's a little hard to be here because I have two minds. I can hear you as a person that I'm talking to and interviewing, but then I can feel all of it because I remember in retrospect. So it's a really interesting experience to just be in all of this. But I'm so glad that you said yes. Tom, take it away.
Well, thank you, Catherine. Pam, good morning. Thank
Good
you very much
morning.
for sharing so much wisdom and insight from what you've lived through and learned. Someone said it in the chat a moment ago, the word vulnerable. You mentioned the willingness. I wanted to ask you specifically, how did you get the strength, to be resilient enough to then have that level of vulnerability to reach out? Because growing up, that acting out, and there's a form of self-protection through all that. I know meditation was very helpful, as you were talking about, but could you tell us more about how you found the strength to be so vulnerable?
I have a funny answer to that. It was my rebellion. It's like, even now, nobody's going to tell me what to do. I hear my
I've seen
laughing.
Catherine try. Yeah.
I believe that my will to live in spite of the pain in some way must have been inborn, because it's a gift. I cannot claim it as much as I can say, somehow I was given it. And so I do think sometimes our anger and our rebellion is a way of claiming that strength. It's a great question, Tom. I'll have more reflection on that one.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Cece.
Oh, I want to thank you so much for your share, Pam. I could really identify with the meditation part of it. And also, I had a parent that thought that everything I did wasn't right too. And it doesn't matter anymore. I've learned how to forgive and move forward. And thank you so much for sharing your story about forgiveness and moving forward in life. So I pass and thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Thanks, Cece. Chase, talk to us. What you got?
Wow, this is really powerful. Thank you so much for bringing your mother on. What a beautiful woman. Wow. Like, whew, very emotional. I want to thank you for being vulnerable enough to share all of that. And when I saw you come up on the screen, I thought something completely different was going to happen. I said, wow, look at this sweet, beautiful woman. She looks just like her daughter. She's going to tell us some amazing story about I don't know what, like, it was just all happy to me, apple pies, country walks in the, I don't know. And when you opened your mouth and said what you said, it was so heartwarming that a wound or wounds this deep could be carried through what I see. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. And I got emotional. And the one sentence that made it all worth coming today was, keep claiming the intention. And I just thought, like, I just was like, oh, so, wow, thank you for that. You're definitely her mom. Wow, the facial expressions, the head turns, like, wow, it was just so beautiful. I'm so happy I came here today. And your story reached me, and based on something that's happening with me, and just, whew, wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chase. Ronald.
Hey guys, great story this morning. It's funny. I just read an article this morning, and then this story came. I'm just really bring it all together. You can't help thinking about this story and not looking at what's going on right now in the world with the British family, with Prince Harry coming around and expressing what's going on, in his life publicly, going through a book, going through interviews, and so on and so forth. So it boils down to me that there is a momentum to tell the truth, at an early stage, and not really stepping back to look at the real picture in the context of where you evolve. So for Pam, I think is that yes, we're this is a highlight. A high profile family, but within you, is there sometime a time where you actually, you went into alcohol and so on? Is there a time do you really pull back to really look and say, okay, what could I have done to really make it work a whole lot more with your mom, as opposed to really disconnect totally? And that's exactly what we're seeing now, is really the disconnecting. But at the end of the day, it always come back. And this is the gap year that is lost in between the two people, that really is a painful time. So I'm like trying to see, how does that, I guess it has to be from both sides, but did you at a point feel that you needed to do that instead of really letting that gap time go?
That's a part, I believe, of self-forgiveness,
Right.
Allowing the past to let go the past. And even in some ways, once that forgiveness of other happens, something clears inside, and the past looks different. Even though we know the facts, the feelings change. I think that's what you're asking.
Yeah, because I think it has to go from both sides.
Yes.
To have the willingness to forgive. And that's exactly what I'm seeing right now, in the world. It's just like one side want it, and then the other side goes like, okay, I'm going to go and tell my truth, and I'm putting a book out there, I'm doing interviews and doing all that. But the other side is just thick, I'm going to really put that big wall there, and nobody can penetrate that wall. And especially in the, in where this British family is standing. So it's just like, it's interesting to see the dynamic of relationship within families. So
it is. Thank you, Ronald. And Mom, I wanted to ask you one question about that. To his point, if the other person isn't willing, and she wasn't for a long time until the end, does it still work?
It does. I believe that it does. I had given up the fact that there was going to be a response from my own mother, because my intention encompassed full forgiveness of her, and that I wanted to have feel enough healing in me that when she died, I could let go with grace and not regret. And that's key.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Grace.
And the intention to chase this point. And Laura, I saw you had your hand up, and don't name more. Did you have a question or something?
Yeah. I don't have a question. I have a comment.
Sure.
And I'm so really grateful and emotional to hear this conversation. Pam, thanks for your vulnerability. But what comes up for me is that the will to survive. And the peace on forgiveness. My story and forgiveness I can share now, but that was what really got me. Letting go of the past and accept the now, what is now. Yes. So I just want to thank you for your vulnerability. You've given me permission to be vulnerable and to share my story without shame, without feeling judged. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Yeah, and when I asked you, Mom, if there's one thing you could leave with folks today, what did you say? What is the one thing you'd want people to walk away with today? And it may be different than what you said yesterday.
Oh, okay. Well, that love and forgiveness are what will free us to live ourselves fully.
That's it. I love you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing yourself. And thank you for being so vulnerable and agreeing to do this with me to bring us closer.
I love you too.
And thank you everybody for joining. We're going to close out with our 7 tenets, which we have to start with love. Love and forgive. If not now, then when? Laugh out loud, tell funny jokes, stress less, eat mostly plants, eat those yummy greens and that yummy food that comes off of this planet. Your body will thank you. Give of your forgiveness. Give forgiveness to yourself, to others. Sleep it off, let it go, forget the past, and move that body. And join us tomorrow on the Daily Huddle and come back next Wednesday for more on relationships and communication. Thank y'all so much. Thank you for welcoming my mama.
Thank you guys for today. That was
everyone.
amazing.
Great job. Bye.
Thank you, Pam.
I love guys.
Bye.
Amazing things.
Thank
Thank you,
you.